What are the things that stand a chance of fucking my future?
Generally speaking, wages in real terms, adjusted for inflation, haven't gone up for decades. So nobody's getting richer. The reality is you grind it out. Your savings are not worth what you thought they'd be. This whole promise of your pension and swanning around on a cruise ship around the Caribbean when you're older, living in a nice house, none of that is true. And it's because wages haven't gone up. Somebody who's in their 30s now can't afford to buy a house. So what is a house? Firstly, it's your quality of life. We're home buyers. You know, we think of our home as our castle. It's like the thing that solidifies our security. But, you know, if you're in Germany, for example, they rent. But if we think about the mindset of owning a house, it's an asset that you can then pass on or you can sell if you need to. And an asset is really a future savings plan. It's something you save now that in the future you can consume, you can buy stuff with. The average 35-year-old, the average millennial is 36 years old. They can't afford to buy the house. So therefore, their future self is poorer. If they think of how much of the stock market they can buy less with their money. They have less savings. They've got debts from university. So they don't have the ability to get out of this trap. And then what we are finding is because of this, they're having to live with other people into their 30s. They don't have kids and they don't get married. You're seeing the marriage rate halve. You're seeing the home ownership rate go from 50% to 30%. These are all expressions of the same problems, which is people know their future is fucked. You see then the same cohort of kids in their 30s doing 2 jobs, 3 jobs, 4 jobs. That's not because they want to, it's because they have to. And their parents, the baby boomers, who are in their 70s and retiring, never had that. They were the richest generation the world had ever seen. So this is the first generation that won't be as rich as their parents. And that's a weird thing because we're all used to human progress, the American dream.
What advice would you give to someone like me that's my age as to how to play the game over the coming years to make sure that I don't find myself in a position where I'm having to work 2 jobs, I'm poor, I don't have assets, I don't have anything to show for it? What's the game?
The first part of the game is income. Without income, you don't have the cash to do the other things, to invest or to look for opportunities. So you kind of end up having to be an entrepreneur, work 2 or 3 different things. The point being, if you're 20s, do all of that. Work day and night.
Really?
Do as many things, learn as much as you can, fail as often as possible.
What about work-life balance in your 20s?
Fuck it. Because that's the time to put in the hard work.
What type of knowledge should I be acquiring to set myself up for wealth in the future? What is the most high returning knowledge?
For me, it is firstly be an expert on something and then a generalist on as much as possible. Right? Be that expert because somebody will pay you for that. Compete with yourself day and night to be the best that you can. So at least it's going to give you the chance to earn some money. There's a trick that I learned, and it's called manifesting your own destiny. Envisage myself 5 or 10 years in the future. What do I want to be? And you look around you and say, okay, what are the things that I want to have, that future vision of myself? Give it 5 years. Where do I want to be in 5 years? Okay, and you look around that future world and you think, okay, well, how would I got here? If I've built a business cleaning windows and I've got 20 people working for me, well, how did I get there? Well, I would have had to have figured out, okay, how do I make this scale? How do I employ people? How do I train them to have the right standards? All of that. You ask yourself your question of what that success looks like, and you kind of deconstruct it and go back and make it happen. When you become good at something, if you're careful in your expenditure, you will produce excess income. Because people are going to pay you for your expertise. That excess cash, you can then choose what to do with it. Now, maybe you want to build the real business that you wanted to build in the first place, the crazy idea you've had. And if you're in your 20s, you can take the risk and blow your savings on that crazy idea. Or you start investing. The world of investments was this world of weird financial advisors, and they would tell you some things like, well, you do this, and then you're a 25-year-old. In 45 years' time, you'll get some money. I mean, fuck that. I mean, what am I going to get out of it when I'm 65 years old? I suddenly get a lump sum that I've spent my whole life saving for. I don't feel it. I've got no emotional attachment to my pension plan. I've got real world problems to solve. I can't buy a house. I can't get married. I can't have kids. I need to solve these in a shorter time period than my pension. And the answer is investing. Then most people roll their eyes and go, oh, really? Stocks and bonds? It's boring. Yeah, but the world has changed. Investing in technology, investing in crypto that gives us much higher returns, stupidly higher returns in shorter periods of time. Okay, that's magic. That's magic for young people.
I was playing through the different sort of personas of my audience, and some of them are working really, really, really hard at the moment. There might be a cab driver, there's some sort of manual labor, and it feels to them that no matter how hard they work, they still don't have that excess income to invest. Is there something that they're doing wrong as it relates to the game?
No, the game is the game. And you have to play the game. Maybe you don't have thousands to invest, but all I'm saying is the opportunity is there. You don't need to bet your house. You don't need to have huge savings. You just need to focus on what you're doing, understand how to manage risks a bit, and how to look for opportunities. And it's the self-teaching is, how do I become that guy who's got a $500,000 portfolio, considering I've only got $500 today or $1,000 today?
Is that possible still?
Very much so.
Haven't I missed the boat?
No. It's happening again right now in meme coins. These are investments based on a meme.
A joke.
A joke. Something that grabs attention on the internet. Okay, this is the super speculative end, but it's also very cultural. It's not about investment bankers. It's not about gatekeepers. Is this going to catch on viral? And if it is it going to grow bigger? Now, some of those might do 1,000x in 6 months. 99% go to zero. All I'm saying is returns are there.
95% of people that walk the streets think that the minute you get some excess income, you should take it and put it in a savings account and buy your first house, get your first mortgage. Is that a good approach?
No, because it's not wealth creation. People think of houses as like an asset, but in the end, you barely ever will sell your house to take the money out. Generally speaking, your house is the lifestyle bank. Now, that is super important. So do you sacrifice your future self having more money by having a house and having security earlier? I would argue those days are gone. Your mortgage is likely a huge amount versus your income. You'll spend the rest of your life paying it off. And most of the time, you're just paying off the interest. So you're not getting anywhere. You don't own that house. Anything goes wrong, the bank takes it away from you. You've got to get more control of your life. And that is by having savings that are growing. The lifestyle bank, that's the reward. Because now it's like, okay, nobody can take my house away.
So if I'm trying to build wealth, buying a house is not a good idea. It's not the best approach to take to build wealth. You're telling me that it's actually
not wealth.
About psychology and about emotion, the house, and it's not about making myself wealthy.